Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome again to another live this morning, and hope you're having a great start to your day. Guess what it is today? Question and Answer Friday. We always look forward to that. Okay, let me say hello to a few of our friendly followers. Sandra, good morning. Aurelia, right? William, how are you? And Wendy, good morning. Wasaga Beach. Or she's saying, yeah, from Ted and Wendy from Wasaga. Well, you lucky dog, you. Wasaga Beach, beautiful. Mary. Nick from our staff, good morning. Mary Jane. Connecticut, right? Mary Jane? Good morning to you. And Wendy from Markham, good morning. Love my Wendy's. Jordan. Good morning, Jordan. How are you? I met with Doc McEwen yesterday. Okay, Georgie, how are you? And James. How are you, James? Thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. Okay. And Mary from Peru, Illinois. Good morning, Mary Louise, Peru, Illinois. Our Hope is watching. Okay. Susan, Jerry. Good morning, Jerry, from Nouveau Brunswick. Raymond, how are you? Nice to have you on this morning. We got lots of questions we'll get to in a minute here. And good morning, Kathy. How you doing? And Sharon, Lakefield. Oh, beautiful. Near Peterborough. Betty, good morning. Okay. And let that scroll go, Carol. Okay. It's very slow. I don't know what's happened to our scrolling. It used to go by so fast. And Dr. McEwen is in New Liskeard with her mom. Well, good morning to you both. Thanks for coming on and watching. Linda, good morning. Beth, Marie from Port Robinson. Now, where is that, Marie? Where's Port Robinson? Denise, good morning. And let me say hello to two more. Diana, Cornwall. Good morning, Diana. John, how is you? Okay, let's get to those questions this morning. And Marlene, how are you? I don't want to miss folks, but I always do. Irene, good morning. And no, can't sing. Okay, now, first question. What is HEK? Capital HEK 293. They are fetal cells. Cecile? And I don't even want to get into the controversy of these fetal cells. I really don't. Colleen, how do you prevent fallen arches? Well, real good footwear, first of all. And look, you can take an inexpensive shoe, okay? Look, you know, you can spend a lot of money on good running shoes and good shoes. You can do that. That's all right if you got the money. I really want to take care of my feet because I have a tendency to have very flat feet and fallen arches. And it's usually the metatarsal arch that falls near the front of the foot. And that can give you lots of problems. Look, I like, you can get them at any pharmacy, whatever. When you just put in a good arch support, you can get orthotics and spend a lot of money. Again, if you have insurance for that kind of stuff and whatever, and you want to get orthotics, good. But I used to, when I was in practice, I used to recommend getting, you know, a good insole with an arch support. It actually lifts up your arch. So that's number one. Good footwear, a good insole. I really like that. Roll a pop bottle, roll a golf ball, roll a tennis ball, roll whatever on your, like that's a tremendous exercise for arches. Okay, so to prevent fallen arches, that's what I recommend. Darlene, what causes hand, foot, and mouth disease? A virus. It's viral. It's usually not serious, happens so often, especially in kids. They put stuff in their mouths, and oftentimes they'll get, hand, foot, and mouth disease. But it's usually not serious. It's usually cleared up, and it's viral. So antibiotics are not recommended at all. I'm going to do a story on antibiotics that just came out. Well, maybe do it on Monday. Okay, maybe we'll do it on Monday. But that's what causes it, Darlene. It's very common in children. Sharon, I get welts on my head and they are itchy real bad. What would be the cause? Well, Sharon, could be a couple of things. Welts could be, are they sebaceous cysts? Are they, full of fluid? Or is it an allergy? Sebaceous cysts, or people are just prone to have those kind of cysts. Sometimes they grow to a point you got to get them surgically removed. They are others where you're getting welts. Well, that would be an allergy. You got to figure it out, from your shampoo to whatever on your head. Figure out if something's changed or whatever, and try and eliminate that, because it could be an allergy. Sebaceous cyst or some kind of topical allergy. It's not happening anywhere else, only on the top of your head. You got to be suspicious of, maybe a shampoo or whatever that's causing that, Sharon. I like to get to the cause of it. Melanie, my lipoprotein is extremely high. So, HDL lipoprotein, okay, and LDL lipoprotein or LP lipoprotein, you want it to be high. It's not dangerous, okay? And again, it all goes back, Melanie, to theory. And I think I mentioned this yesterday. The cholesterol theory has been around for a long time. Okay, now we're talking, it started really in the 50s, picked up steam in the 60s, and by the early 70s, it was dogma. Cholesterol is bad. Watch your lipoprotein, HDL, LDL, and LP. It ain't at the root of heart disease. As a matter of fact, you want high lipoprotein. You want high, you're going to do better with high. And the only reason they scared the living life out of people is because the pharmaceutical industries has done such a job in combination with the food industry lying to us about cholesterol and lipoprotein. And look, lipoprotein is carriers. HDL is a carrier. The more you have on the highways and byways of your blood vessels, the better you will do. LDL is a carrier. They made it out to be a bad guy because it's something they could lower with medication. Oh, that's good. We can lower it. Why do you want to lower it? So I'm not too concerned. I'm very concerned, Melanie, very concerned about your triglycerides. I am very concerned about your HDL. I want to know those numbers, and I want to know the ratio between your triglycerides and your HDL. I'm going to double down on it. I'm going to triple down on it, because that, my friend, is good science. It's the truth. You don't die from cholesterol. Well, you could. You die with low cholesterol. You'll die with low lipoprotein. Not high. Not high. I don't like it as a reading. I focus in on triglycerides and I focus in on HDL. That tells me all I need to know about where your heart's going and where cardiovascular disease comes from. I double down on it, Melanie. Those are my thoughts. Guylaine. When I sunbathe, I load up with coconut oil. Yeah, I like coconut oil. I do. Okay? I like coconut oil. It's great for your skin. It's a medium chain fatty acid. It's a good oil. It's a fruit oil. It's good for you. On the skin, yeah, it's very good. It's greasy, but it's good. And I got no problem with that. Now, again, I'm just saying to you, Guylaine, coconut oil gives you some protection. But at the end of the day, I'm like, if you listen to me over the years, here's what I'm a 20-minute, 30-minute, and some people, once your skin is used to it, you get an hour of sun, no problem at all. You won't burn, especially if you're not eating junk. We talk about glycation. Glycation is sugar. Sugar will make your skin lose its elasticity. Sugar will make your skin very, very susceptible to sunburn. It's amazing when you get rid of seed oils, crappy oils, what they cook all the fast foods in. When you get rid of that out of your diet, it's amazing how much better your skin is in the sun. I have had hundreds and hundreds of people tell me that over the years. Okay, it's one of the reasons for the reset. It really does help your skin in a lot of ways, and especially protecting your skin. I am big on Viderma. You need the sun on your skin. It is good for you in every way. It's good for you. Don't burn. So be careful about that. And as far as, you can make up sunscreens if you want with zinc and other natural sunscreens. I like Rivera. I like putting it on my skin. It helps eliminate you want UVB. You don't want UVA. Okay? And it helps with that. And coconut to some extent helps with that too. So sure, lather up if that's what you like on your skin. Good for you. I got no problem with that. And it does not block the vitamin D. It doesn't. It's not a sun block. Okay? And I brought this to you in the past, in the last little bit. Man, oh man. Even the FDA is pulling all sorts of sunscreens. Why? Because you put stuff on your skin and add heat, now it's carcinogenic. You put all those chemicals, something I've been saying for years, you put those chemicals on your skin and you add heat, even the FDA now finally is starting to pull a lot of product off the shelves because they're finding out that, my friend, is one of the biggest causes of skin cancer today. It's not the sun. It's chemicals with the sun. Anyway, don't get me started on it, okay? Cindy, how old one should be to start drinking coffee? My 9-year-old likes to sip on it. Well, I used to like coffee too when I was a kid, because just the smell of coffee. My grandma used to percolate. My grandmother, you know what grandmothers, they never say no, right? Like my mother wouldn't let me drink coffee. My mother would make that percolated coffee in the morning. And I always loved the smell of coffee. Always, always. Even as a kid, I remember it. I could see that stuff percolating and but my grandma, my mom would say, you're too young for that. You can't have coffee. Okay? Get out of here. But my grandma, you know what grandmas are like. Okay. And my grandma used to let me drink it. Of course, I needed about 5 sugars in it. It was really not coffee. It was syrup by the time I drank it. Okay. And I think I was maybe 17 or 18. My last year at high school. So 17. There it is. In grade 13. Now, to my American friends, you wouldn't know what that is. Okay? But I started drinking coffee regularly. But no sugar. No sugar. I never liked sugar in my coffee. Only when I was a kid, when I wanted to make syrup. So I don't know what to tell you. Give a little sip of coffee. Not going to hurt. Coffee's good for you, by the way. Okay? It is good for you. And I have been consistent about that. Mr. Consistency. Coffee's good, man. Coffee's good. Okay? Now, you might, 9-year-old, I don't know. Like, you usually don't see kids drinking coffee. Okay? Cindy. Okay, thanks for that question, Cindy. Amelia. I have ankylosing spondylitis, and my CRP is always high. Yeah, for sure. Well, first of all, Amelia, ankylosing spondylitis, as you well know, is an autoimmune disorder. Okay? I've seen it many, many a time over the years. Ankylosing spondylitis. You get the bamboo spine. Can become very rigid. And the cartilage just, hardens up. Ankylosing spondylitis. And, of course your CRP would always be high. Okay? Because CRP is a measurement, the best measurement, in my opinion, of inflammation. Silent or otherwise. You got a lot of pain. Let's say you get an infection. Well, if they take your CRP when you have an infection, your CRP is going to be high. That's just normal. Your body's ambulance system is working. And your CRP inflammation will go up. That's not dangerous inflammation. That inflammation is actually good for you. But in a chronic condition like ankylosing spondylitis, that inflammation, of course, because you have a condition, an inflammatory condition, ankylosing spondylitis, that is dangerous in a lot of ways, Amelia, because that inflammation makes you much more susceptible, because what you don't know with that inflammation is when it's chronic like that, it can affect your blood vessels, especially, and they start to damage blood vessels. It's a side effect of chronic inflammation. So you're asking the question, Amelia, would DHA help? Absolutely it would. If anyone has any kind of itis at the end, okay, spondylitis, arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, which is autoimmune, anything that's chronic, that's the problem. Your body's responding and it never stops responding. And now that inflammation, which is good in an infection, it's good in an injury, acute. But if it becomes chronic, it stays there, it becomes very damaging. So you want to lower that inflammation, and you'll know it going down when you measure CRP. And a lot of people, when, you see, the reset too, Amelia, the reset is very anti-inflammatory eating. It lowers CRP. Because when you eat carbs, crappy carbs, when you eat sugar, they're very inflammatory because insulin resistance creates an inflammatory response in the body. So this is why we aim at getting down that inflammation. But like we always say, inflammation's not Houdini. There's a reason for inflammation. Chronic disease, bad diet, leaky gut, high cortisol, high stress. All of these things can cause inflammation. And DHA, high DHA, I explained that yesterday. What it does even in depression, what it does to lower inflammation in the brain, what it does to regenerate the brain, heart and brain, blood vessels, absolutely. Makes your blood vessels nice and slippery. The more good oil you put in. And DHA, because we talked earlier about coconut oil. Well, coconut oil is good. DHA is much better. They're both good, but one is a lot better. Just because it is a high omega-3. And what we have in this world is way too much. It's one of the root causes, in my opinion. We have way too much in our diet omega-6, and omega-6 is inflammatory. Omega-6 comes from all that crappy oil. I mean, our ratios are, some people say up to 30-1. People eat 30-1 omega-6 over omega-3. That ain't good, folks. And I think it's part of, along with leaky gut, part of the huge increase we see today in autoimmune. Ankylosing spondylitis being one of them. Thanks for the question, Amelia. We appreciate it. Monica. Well, good morning, Monica. How do I get protein out of the urine? Okay, well, listen. Not by lowering your protein in your diet. Okay, because this is doctors. Okay? Here's their thinking. You got protein in your urine. You're eating too much steak. Cut back. Quit eating all that red meat. Cut back on meat. Eat more fruits and vegetables because you got protein in your urine. Folks, protein in your urine comes from stress to the kidneys. Not because you're eating too much protein. It's the opposite. You're not eating enough protein and you happen to be a carboholic. So put your hand up, Monica, and say, my name is Monica and I'm a carboholic. Because that's usually what causes high protein in the urine. I used to measure that. Very simple urine test. And I said, your kidneys are under stress, my dear. You're eating too much sugar. If you have too much sugar, you're going to get protein in your urine because your kidneys don't like sugar. They like protein, but they don't like sugar. Unfortunately, medicine, because they don't take more than an hour of nutrition in medical school, they don't know that. Oh, you're eating too much protein. They do that with the liver. You got fatty liver, you must be eating too much fat. No, it's the opposite. You're not eating enough fat. You're eating too many carbs. That's how you get fatty liver. Sugar turns to fat in the liver. It's the Costco parking lot. It's always full when we eat sugar and drink sugar. Soda, juice, and soda, juice, sugar, hard on the liver and hard on your kidneys. If you don't believe me, you ask a diabetic. Diabetics have big time trouble with their kidneys. That's why you see all these dialysis places popping up. I should have invested in dialysis because it's an epidemic today of kidney disease. And it's food, my friend. It's food. Okay? Now, Monica, I said you were a carbaholic. It may not be you. You might have been asking for a friend. Okay? Okay, thanks for the question. Okay? And drink water. Yeah, she said you're drinking water. It's not working. It's not the... Water's good. Okay? Remember my 4 things that damage your kidneys. Sugar. Okay? Dehydration, lack of water. High levels of oxalates. When you insist on eating salad all the time, you're not a rabbit. It's hard on your kidneys. They create oxalates. And uric acid. You know how you get high levels of uric acid? Fructose. Damages your liver. Damages, now we know this is brand new. We didn't know this before. That high fructose corn syrup, which is the syrup, which is the sugar in everything manufactured today. That sugar goes directly to your liver, but not only that, it damages your pancreas, the beta cells, the insulin-producing cells in your pancreas. So it's a trinity of things. Damages your kidneys, damages your liver, and damages your pancreas. Okay? Thanks for the question, Monica. Chris, my naturopath said to be careful. Too much DHA can thin the blood. Chris, I don't like to fight with naturopaths or doctors. I don't want to fight with them. I disagree. You want to take so much oil, you're sliding out of rooms. You want to become slippery. People can't grab you because you've got so much oil coming. DHA, guys, listen. It don't thin your blood. I don't know where they get that. It doesn't thin your blood. It fixes your blood vessels. Your blood vessels are repaired in your brain and around your heart. DHA is so stinking good for you. I just beg to disagree. You know, look, you're going to get a lot of stuff out there, okay? And you guys gotta use, God gave you gray matter, use it. And DHA oil is liquid gold. They're showing it. I've shown you this in the past. It was hot off the presses, about a year ago or whatever? In 14 days, DHA destroys tumors. Like, makes tumors, destroys them. Hey, I didn't do that research. But you hardly hear about it. It should have been one of the biggest breakthroughs in medicine. It really should have. But it'll never get any ink because the pharmaceutical industry don't want you to hear that. DHA oil. Google it. YouTube it. It don't thin your blood. I'm sorry. It doesn't work on your blood. It works on your blood vessels. And it regenerates the brain. Because do you know what fat your brain, when someone calls you fathead, take it as a compliment. You need fat. And DHA is the best fat in the world. the best. Okay? I get a little excited, but that's me. Anna, she's asking about DHA too. How much is too much? So, Chris and Anna, I think I answered. Look, I take between 4 and 6 grams of straight DHA every day. That's me. Now listen, I want to protect my brain. I have motive for doing it, okay? Because I know what it does. It's good for your brain. It's good for your heart. It's good for your eyeballs. It's good for blood vessels. It's good for, that's why it's good for your eyeballs. Because you look behind an eye and you see the 401, the 403, the 407, and all the highways when you drive around Toronto. That's what you see when you look into the eye and you can see the blood vessels in the back. When you want to know when you get trouble with your eyes? When your blood vessels are not working properly and you don't have blood supply to your eyeballs, to your brain, to your feet, to whatever. Okay, anyway. Thank you very much, Chris and Anna. You teed me up this morning. Claire, is it normal for a child 6 or 7 years of age to have bad odor when they sweat? It can happen. Usually, though, what's on the outside is inside. I would venture to say when, with that's going on, I would venture to say they probably have some kind of fungus, a yeast in their body. They're eating too much sugar and they're feeding the bears. That's what generally, I wouldn't say it's a vitamin deficiency or anything like that. It's probably a deficiency in probiotics. Leaky gut, yeast, candida, and that's what I would think in a small child, Claire. Thank you. Okay? And it's not hormones or whatever at that age. I've seen young ladies, for example, with high estrogen at 8 years old. I mean it. Estrogen is a dominant thing today in our society, but not so much, I think, in terms of odor. Okay? Susanna, I take your chocolate bone broth every day, and it's my first or second meal for 4 months. Please, what are the benefits? Well, they're legion. The benefits, Susanna, of bone broth. Why do I like bone broth? Okay? Why do I like it? For several reasons. Best protein in the world is collagen protein. It's the best. It's the most complete. So, when you go to, a health food store or whatever, pharmacies even have it today. You have these protein drinks, okay? And, some are made by whey and some are made which is a dairy derivative. And some of them are soy. I hate that. And some of them are pea proteins or whatever. And I don't like that either because it's not complete. Collagen protein is the best protein in the world. This is why, Susanna, I don't know if you have any kids or you have any grandchildren, but especially grandchildren, give them Dr. Martin's Perfect Smoothie. If they're not eating well, a lot of kids don't eat well. Get them the bone broth protein. They'll like it in the way I make it. 4 ounces of heavy cream. Heavy cream. Tastes like McDonald's milkshake. Chocolate, vanilla, protein powder. You can pick your protein powder, but if you're asking me, I like collagen. And here's another thing. Bone broth is, because it's very high in a collagen protein, guess what? It's good for your skin. It's good for your hair. It's good for your nails. Ladies. You know how many hairdressers have told my women patients over the years, I'm not kidding you, what are you doing? Why? Your hair's growing again. Oh yeah, because you can't fool your hairdresser, right? And they said, well, I've been taking a protein shake, bone broth. Oh yeah? Well, it's working. And then they come back to the office and tell me. And I said, I know. It's very good for you. Plus, another benefit, Susanna, it's got amino acids, complete. And one of those amino acids that I really like, and that's why bone broth can be very, very effective against leaky gut, because it's L-glutamine. L-glutamine regenerates your gut. It's in the bone broth. Excellent. L-arginine. I love L-arginine. Well, that's in bone broth. And L-carnitine, that's in bone broth. But L-glutamine is the one I really like because of what it does for the gut. Okay, so Susanna, there are multitude of benefits of taking, okay, now let me just see here. Susanna, chocolate bone broth, there you go. Faith, what am I lacking? I have ridges on my fingernails. Looks like it's going to split. Usually, look, the thyroid could be off, Faith, but usually when you have ridges like that, you do not have enough acid in your stomach. You're not making enough acid. That is why I love digestive enzymes, because as we get older, we don't make enough acid in our stomach. And especially if you got a bad diet. If you're a sugarholic, you're going to have low acidity in the stomach. Because when you're not, you see, the reason you get high acidity, you know why acid is in your stomach? Not anywhere else in your stomach. Why do you want to have high acid in your stomach? For protein. Protein is harder to digest. And unlike a cow who doesn't eat protein, human beings need protein. You can't live without protein. That's why you have high stomach acidity. Now, if you bought the lie and you're a carbaholic and you've been eating carbs, guess what happens to your stomach? You don't get enough acidity. So guess what happens? Your body makes more. Proton pumps produce more acidity, and it, instead of staying in your stomach, it goes up your esophagus, and now you have acid reflux, silent or otherwise. But that's the reason you don't have enough acidity, and one way to find out is look at your nails and see if you have ridges. That's usually a sign of low acidity in the stomach. Okay. Thank you very much, Faith. Carol, what supplements would improve health? Been sick with a croupy cough, fatigue, and headache for 6 weeks. What did you get? COVID? I'm just asking, Carol. Well, look, I mean, I'm big on probiotics because they are so good for you. If you got a chronic cough, I'd be on oil of oregano. I would spray oil of oregano 2 or 3 times a day. Very antiviral, very antibacterial, very antifungal. I would be on, with the lack of energy, I'd be on eating vitamin S, steak. Because you need everything. I'm big on Navital. Okay, I'm big on Navital. You might need, Carol, I would look at getting on our blood boost temporarily just to build yourself up again. Build your immune system up. Build your cells up. Build your mitochondria up. If it's been 6 weeks, it ain't normal. Okay? You may be starting a chronic fatigue syndrome. And look to our podcast, because I give you the whole rigmarole on how to get out of it. Okay. Chris, you answered my question last Friday. Well, Why are you asking another one? Okay. About yellow from my liver with bile with my reset. My question is, how would we know if it really is a detox and of what? Rather than extra bile required because of extra meat and fat. Okay. Now listen, Chris. Okay? Listen. If you have yellow in your stool, some people get that at the start of the reset. It's not because you're eating more eggs and meat and whatever. Very few people get it, but when they do get it, it's a sign, okay, depending on whether you have a gallbladder or not, I don't know that. It's a sign that your body is detoxing the liver, and bile is the result of that. When you eat more eggs, meat, and cheese, which is the reset, I'll tell you why it's a detox and not your liver. Because your liver that produces that bile when you're eating, not going to end up in the stool. It won't end up in the toilet. You need that bile to break down eggs, meat, and cheese. See, what bile is made for, bile is made because it is an absorber of fat. So if it ends up in your stool, you're either detoxing or you don't have a gallbladder, and it would be temporary. Now, if you got it every day, every time on the reset, well, that isn't normal by any stretch of the imagination. Okay? It's not. So it doesn't happen. We've done the reset I've done it in my practice for 10 years or more. So it's just not what we see. If it is there, there's usually a trouble with a gallbladder or a lack of one, which is very common today. So, Chris, your liver is doing its job. The reset is meant to fix your liver. It's meant to fix that. And bile, you need bile. Even without a gallbladder, your liver makes bile. And when you're eating the right amount of eggs, meat, and cheese, don't worry about your bile at all, because it'll do its job. That's what it's an emulsifier of fat. Okay. Sonia, what to do for OCD, that compulsive disorder, right? Well, look, I always look at whether it's OCD or whether it's autism, whether it is ADD or ADHD or any kind of mental problems. I talked about it yesterday, even in depression or the last few days. I talked about that. A protocol. Clean up the diet. There's nothing better you can do than clean up the diet. Get them off sugars. These are usually canaries in the coal mine. That sugar turns their brain upside down. They can become compulsive. And look, these people, like I said, are canaries in the coal mine. Their systems are fragile. Their brain is fragile. And you got to give them the right food. The best food in the world is protein and fat for your brain. Second, not always easy to do, by the way, to get them to conform or whatever, depending on what the age is, get them off the sugars and whatever. And I'm big on high DHA. I'm big on high DHA as a therapeutic. I'm big on probiotics as a therapeutic. Sometimes they're lacking vitamin D. Sometimes they're lacking B12. Look at all those things, because those can be all factors, Sonia. Thank you very much. How long does it take, Catherine is asking. Okay, just two more. Catherine, how long does it take to detox heavy metals? Well, it depends. It can take up to a year. I've seen it where there was so much heavy metal. And remember. You will not get heavy metals in your system They're transported by yeast. Yeast is a carrier of heavy metals. So if you got mercury, if you got lead, if you got cadmium, you got yeast, my friend. You got to get rid of yeast. Don't feed it. Take probiotics. You might have to get on the Candida formula because that will help to detox, you see? And you empty your liver. Because if you empty your liver will get rid of heavy metals because that's what your liver is made for. Your liver is a tremendous detox organ. And you need to empty it for it to work properly. And the only way it packs up fat, and remember, fat, one of the things that fat in your liver does is it stores heavy metals. So that's another reason for the reset. Empty that liver. Catherine, thank you. Good question. Jojo, if carbs are the macro you don't need to survive. Yep. Ask. I was going to say an Eskimo, but I won't say an Eskimo because I'm not supposed to say that anymore. I'm supposed to say Inuit. Okay? So ask the Inuit. They don't eat carbs. And books have been written about this. They're the healthiest people on the planet. Did you know that? They don't know what heart disease is till they come and eat our food. When they live off blubber, fat and protein, and lots of fat, they do really, really well. Books have been written about it. I mean it. Experiments have been taken. They're the healthiest people. They don't age like we age. Okay? Okay, so I didn't even answer your question yet, I think, Jojo. If carbs are the macro and you don't need them to survive and carbs make you sick, it sounds like you don't believe me. Why do people insist they need to eat carbs before they go work out? Well, that's a fairy tale. Look, some people eat carbs, they love their carbs and they justify their carbs. I used to work with a lot of professional athletes over the years. And I'll tell you, I used to tell them, don't load up with carbs because you need protein. You need the best fuel on your furnace. Your little mitochondria, which makes energy. You want to put paper and twigs in a wood stove and see how long that burns? No. Put logs. Logs are eggs, meat, and cheese, Jojo. And I double down on it. When people tell you that, I'm sorry. Carbs are fast burning. They burn too quickly. They're not the best macro. You can live without them. And athletes should live without them. They don't need them. Okay, guys. Thanks for all the questions. I had my workout today already. Lots of fun. Great questions. Thank you, everyone, for sending in your questions. We appreciate it. Okay, you guys are fantastic. Now, you have a great day. We love you, and we'll talk to you soon.